Hey everybody. So Fire Emblem Engage launched this weekend, Friday, I think, to be precise. I've been playing it all weekend, and here are my first impressions. For context, I'm an old Fire Emblem fan. I've played back as far as some of the early, like maybe 2003 GBA ports. I've kept tabs on it since then. I also played Three Houses many, many times, enough to get all the endings. Long story short, Fire Emblem Engage is very, very good. I'm very happy with it. It's really cool. It's like addicting to play. I've been losing hours in it. I think I played like 6 hours, according to the game clock, this weekend, and I was pretty busy this weekend, actually, so I was really squeezing it in there. But so one thing that I would say, the only drawback, the main critique that I'm going to give it is that a lot of the character designs are very, very like candy Fortnite fun, if that makes sense. Like inappropriately futuristic, or like a dress made of candy, or like, just crazy. They had a lot of fun with the character design, and I that's good. Designers should have fun and make things visually striking, but it's a little bit too much for me. I like the way that they did it in Three Houses and basically any other Fire Emblem game before that. But that is my only quibble. That's my only really small issue with it. Engage has been really, really cool. So there's like a lot of new mechanisms, which is always interesting. And I knew that they would not be able to take rewind a map out of the new one after they did that in Three Houses. Sorry, let me try to attack that again. In Three Houses, your special power for that game is to rewind time in a certain battle. And I knew that was like so useful that I was like, they can't take this back out in the new game, and indeed they did not. That's built in, at least for like normal and normal difficulty plays. You can rewind, but there's also this really cool thing where you get rings. So the whole thing is built around rings, which is kind of good and kind of bad. Again, stylistically, it kind of feels more like Power Rangers or like something for kids than like a semi-gritty anime military simulator like it was in earlier versions. And Three Houses kind of moved away from that a little bit, but this one has really moved away from that. And but so like the whole thing is built around these rings, and it's kind of like an Into the Spider-Verse, like multiverse kind of scenario where we get to meet all the main heroes, all the coolest characters from Fire Emblem history. And like I said, I've been playing since 2003. I recognize these guys, and it spoke to me as something that was cool. So like, there's Roy, there's Lynn, everyone from Super Smash Brothers as well. That's another one where I recognized Roy and Marth and stuff like that. But it's cool because it kind of forces players to learn some of the Fire Emblem history while taking the series in this new kind of more magical direction. So the way it works, the main mechanism for this one, instead of just rewinding time, which you can also do, at least in certain game modes, the main thing for this is that you will get these rings of power that will connect you to a previous Fire Emblem hero. And then that will make, it basically creates almost like it's hard to describe, but you almost become like a Dota hero, a hero in that context where you're a unit like any other unit on the map, but you're the only one who has like powers, and you're way stronger. You kind of crush through all the normal units. And you can have like, I think 12 in total. I mean, so you can have, presumably by the end of this game, you'll have a team of 12 soldiers who are each channeling a previous Fire Emblem hero and are like just huge tanks. And, the enemies get these too. So, to make a strong boss, they'll also make like a cool, something similar where they have a special ability, they have like an ultimate attack and stuff like that. I'm really enjoying it. It's very easy to pick up and play. They've streamlined a lot of things. Fire Emblem is often like inaccessible to people because it's very complicated. Books wear out, weapons wear out, there's durability to think about. And this has all that complexity, but there's no more weapon durability that I can see. They streamlined a lot of things that are not necessarily fun anymore. Like it was cool in the earlier games to have to be like, oh, this is the only good iron sword we have left. We have to give this to this person. And some people might miss that, but it's made up for in other ways. There's so many special traits that trigger now anytime two people fight. I think I have a few clips in here where it's like one person does an attack, and then you see across the screen like 16 different character traits roll against each other. It's almost like if you play any complicated card games that have like priority rules, like Magic the Gathering or anything like that. It's like it'll roll all these crazy priority rolls for you and then decide like a pretty complicated combat scenario where like adjacent characters will jump in to help, but then enemy adjacent characters will as well. And then you also have, your ring. So there's like a extra dimensional person on that. It's crazy. There's definitely a lot of mechanisms that I'm still learning. One more thing that I'm sure a lot of purists will have issue with is that they, and again, Three Houses had New Game Plus, which was really fun and encouraged. And so my tradition these days is to just play it as easy as I can the first time. So I do normal casual. For those of you who are maybe somewhat new to the series or haven't played the new ones, casual means units just flee when they get 0 HP. They flee and they come back the next battle. Hardcore, or like a classic, is the opposed option. And then that means that characters die when they hit 0 HP. And then there's normal, hard, and maddening, which is also from Three Houses. Essentially, easy, medium, hard. But I always play it easiest first and then take on more challenges for each New Game Plus that I play. I assume that's built in. I feel like that must be, but I'll report back if not. But what was my point? I got lost again. Oh, that's right. One thing that purists aren't going to like is that, at least on my settings, you can actually save in the middle of battle. So in addition to being able to rewind time, you can actually save scum as much as you want in a certain battle. And I mean, that was always, you guys, if you see my Dwarf Fortress or any other videos, that's what I prefer to do. I like to have as many chances as I want to do something the way I want to. So I like that, but I'm sure a lot of people will complain about that, because that was always, I used to get stuck on the GBA 2003, ones where I would get to the last boss and then realize too late that like I had played to the best of my ability, but my units were not ready for this final boss. And so, yeah, sorry, it's like, bad for you. You didn't play it well enough up to this point. And so that was always like too hard for me. So I appreciate that they're trying to make it accessible for people of different skill sets. I do worry it was so, like I say, it was kind of candy colorful, and almost, it feels a little childish sometimes, especially the futuristic. So I think I mentioned that, but all these characters have they can merge with their emblem rings. So say my main character is in these clips, his name is Dave, like me. And he's wearing Marth's ring. So Marth fights with him, but then they can also merge into something. And all the merges are like these weird, it's kind of like what they tried to do in Breath of the Wild, where Nintendo had this magic futurism thing, or the Sheikah Slate and everything used this blue hard light, and it was magic, but it was also futuristic. I think they kind of went too far in this one. There's one, one of the rings gives you kind of like a hologram jetpack, and I'm like, this is too much for Fire Emblem. But that style issue is the only issue I have. I'm really, really happy with everything else that they've done, and I'm eating it up. I'm really enjoying playing. And I think that's all I have for now. Definitely more Dwarf Fortress videos coming up. I got a bunch of videos coming up for you guys. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I always really appreciate that. I love seeing those numbers go up. And thanks for listening. If you're playing Fire Emblem Engage, I hope you're enjoying it as much as me. Leave in the comments if you think I'm wrong about that style thing. I'm open to that. I want to give this game a 10 out of 10. So if you can convince me that the style choices were a good thing, then I'll have no complaints. Because I've really been enjoying this game. I definitely recommend it, especially if you like Fire Emblem or any kind of strategy turn-based games. All right. Good night, everybody.